Good morning. Today on the podcast, I really want to talk with you about managing your thoughts because, I'm just as concerned and aware that most of us don't manage our thoughts. In other words, when we're not actively managing our thoughts, our lives are still being affected. So managing your thoughts is not just a topic for people focused on personal development. I believe everyone needs to really put the time and energy into managing their thoughts properly. So let's get right into it. Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. My name is George Wright III with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. Hope you're having an amazing morning. We have a lot of stuff to get into today and this week, so I'm going to jump right into it. You know what? It's funny because there's a lot of people that are, sitting around watching the news, trying to figure out what they're going to do, dwelling on the negative, and this is the time for you to double down. This is the time for you to use this opportunity to get productive. And, I should know, I've been around for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17, graduated out of high school, had twins. And, I've always had to find a way to work with what I had. And I'm here today to give you some information, some education that might be able to help you. And I hope it can help change your mindset so that you can realize that just like Napoleon Hill said, what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. And it's just a matter of getting to work and doing what you need to do. So let's start out with the Daily Mastermind quote of the day. If you haven't downloaded the mobile app, go do it. There's a lot of resources in there for you. It's all free. So the quote of the day is by Jonathan Winters, and it says, "If your ship doesn't come in, swim out to meet it." How about that? Basically, what a great quote. Basically, get it done. Figure out a way. Find a way to do it. Listen, this week we've got episode 200 coming up. I'm dropping an interview with Bob Bloom, an attorney that's going to talk to you about asset protection, tax reduction, and estate planning. Also have an interview with the amazing Andrew Cordell, entrepreneur, real estate investor, speaker, author. So I've got a couple of Prosperity Report interviews I'm going to drop, and I've also got many daily mastermind thoughts I want to kind of get out with you. But today I want to talk to you about managing your thoughts. This is a pretty popular topic because many people, I know that, each of us is spending more time sort of inside our heads. If you're on video, you'd see me doing the quote marks, right? Inside our heads because of all this limited interaction that we have on a daily basis with people due to the COVID-19 virus. But I want to use this time to highlight a favorite book of mine. And I always have people ask me about book ideas. Here's another one. I'm going to use this book as a reference and even a recommendation for this discussion because I highly recommend the book. It's written by Mary J. Lohr, and it's called Managing Thought. And I'm going to try to get her on the podcast here, but the subtitle is Think Differently, Think Powerfully, Achieve New Levels of Success. I think this book will definitely help you accomplish those three goals. And I also agree with the author that the book will help you do things like rethink your path to success, refocus your goals and priorities, reframe your negative thoughts, reignite your creativity, revitalize your energy, restore your sense of purpose, and reclaim your peace of mind. How would that be to have your peace of mind back? This book talks about a process for managing your thoughts, but the first 5 to 6 chapters, which I will read over and over on occasion, they really help me set up the argument that you are not your mind. We've talked about this before on the Daily Mastermind, and it was frankly one of the most listened to episodes ever. Lots of comments, over 100 comments just from people on the website, which I didn't even realize people knew that I had the blog and podcast on the G3 Worldwide website. But I believe this is attributed to the fact that we all, at one point or another, or often, get stuck inside our heads. And I really want to talk about managing your thoughts this week because, I'm just as concerned and aware that most of us don't manage our thoughts. In other words, whether you're being, actively managing your thoughts or not, even if you're not doing it, your life is definitely still being affected. Managing your thought is not just a topic for people who focus on personal development. I believe everyone should be consciously managing their thought because everyone wants to live a life of happiness and fulfillment. And if you don't get proactive, you're going to live a life of misery, stress, anxiety, and depression. So let's discuss this a little bit more using some of the ideas that I've learned in the book. And I'm going to highlight, I always go through and I highlight certain things I really enjoy, so it makes it easy for me to go back through the book and grab those thoughts. One of the first thoughts that the author talks about is that now is the only reality that exists. I love this because to influence your life, you must be present. You can only accomplish things in the now. You can't accomplish things next week, tomorrow, back in time. It's now. Now is the only reality you have. And there's 3 keys to successfully managing your thought in the now. Number 1, self-awareness. Number 2, self-mastery. And number 3, being on purpose. That's the way you create results in the now. Self-awareness, self-mastery, and being on purpose. Now, we've taught, many times here that, and actually throughout our life, that actions drive our results, but this is not true. Actions don't drive our results. I mentioned this several times before. It's our thoughts and our beliefs that are what affect our results, because those create our thoughts. This is why our results are truly driven by the thoughts and beliefs that are in our life that we accumulate through this belief cycle, right? Because if you don't believe you can do something, you're not going to put your resources and time and effort into it. And so your thoughts are not going to be empowering. Now, I love the idea also, the author says, that we are inspired when we are achieving results and vice versa, right? When we're inspired, that's when we truly achieve results. So, the happiness, the thankfulness, the vision, purpose, and wonder of possibility, that's what drives creativity. That's what drives inspiration and creates results. So the question we really need to ask ourselves is whether we're driving our thoughts. Are we plagued on a daily basis with self-doubt, fear, worry? Are we being reactive? Are we on autopilot? Or are we proactively creating our thoughts? Are we inundating ourselves with the powerful, positive thoughts that we need to be successful? Eckhart Tolle said, "Thinking has become a disease. It is not so much that you use your mind wrongly. You usually don't use it at all. It uses you. That is the disease. You believe that you are your mind." And I love that statement because not only do we believe that we're our mind, but we don't actually use our minds the way we need to. We need to understand and acknowledge that we are not our minds. Our minds and our brains are tools. They observe, they sense, they store, they retrieve information. You have to learn to use that tool. The key to using this tool is to be, and this is important, I really want you to get this, is to be aware that our minds are there. And when you step back and you stop, this is key, when you stop and you become aware of what your mind is doing, we actually shift our minds. It empowers us because we shift from that hypothalamus to the frontal cortex of our brain, right? From the back to the front of our brain. This allows that CEO center of our mind to take over and create more solutions. So when something's happening and you just stop and you say, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why am I doing this? What's going on? You are immediately empowered because literally, scientifically, you are shifting the part of your brain that is noticing and looking, and it creates solutions. So I recommend, this takes practice, but I recommend the exercise of just stopping and becoming more noticeable of your thoughts, even along your day. Be aware of your thoughts. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what you're looking at. Notice what you're thinking about. Don't just randomly let your life go on. Another key point that I want you to understand is that when we calm our minds, we are far more productive. The book talks quite a bit about, we know that our average thoughts, and you've heard me say this before, are in the neighborhood of 60 to 100,000 thoughts a day. So creativity literally goes out the window when we're so overwhelmed and overloaded with thoughts. You could be sitting there doing nothing and your brain is just going crazy. This is why it's so difficult to get things done when, for example, you're forcing things, right? You're in a stressful state. You're trying to come up with answers. You're trying to force it. Your brain's going crazy. Trust me when I say, I notice and I experience this often. You've got to learn to slow down and you'll get more productive. The biggest solution you can have when this happens is to literally stop what you're doing and break. Take a walk, go do some exercise, meditate, whatever it is, just break from this forced activity. And I know from experience that this is really, really tough to do in the moment. And when you're aware of your thoughts, though, and you can recognize this situation and act on it, it'll make a huge difference for you. Try it and see how much more productive you can become when you get get this little break in your pattern of your mind, and you create some calm and centered and creativity in your mind. Now, another thing I like to remind myself of is that we are not our feelings. Our minds and our feelings are just a reflection of things that are going on in our world. But, and I emphasize this but, our feelings are an incredible tool to help us manage our minds. They're a great indicator as to where we are and whether or not we're on purpose and moving in the right direction. Because when our thoughts trigger negative or difficult emotions, it's a great time and it's a great indication that something's wrong. Maybe we're not aligned with the best version of ourselves. Maybe we're not moving in the right direction. You know what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that happens and you feel it. You know it's not right. So when this happens, stop and become aware of your emotions. Look at your emotions. See what you're doing. When you take a step back and analyze how you're feeling, it's a very powerful way to take control of the situation. And rather than, let it get the best of you, you can decide what to do. So rather than getting caught up and overwhelmed with the emotions, I do believe we need to allow the emotions to take their course. You've got to let yourself feel. I'm not talking about blocking emotions. And many people that know me over the years have said that, I don't show a lot of emotion. And I've learned as I've gotten older to show more emotion because I do believe we need that. But I think the awareness of your emotions and your thoughts is the key. Now, just the reverse can be true with positive, powerful emotions. Positive, powerful emotions and thoughts can be a real catalyst for inspiration and creativity. That's why we always talk about positive affirmations and declarations. This is a way to turn weak thoughts and emotions into powerful, productive, and results-driven thoughts and emotions. Things like love, gratitude, forgiveness are far more powerful than anger, resentment, and blame. Saying things like "I am successful" is better than saying "I want to be successful." Saying "I should be" is not powerful. "I choose to be" is empowering. Does that make sense? So be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and that awareness itself, just that act of being aware and taking that moment will empower you to create massive change and results in your life. Now, I can't cover everything in the book that I'm referring you to, but this is just an example that I wanted to highlight that the author gives. It's like in chapter 5 or 6 or so. The author refers to the process of managing your thoughts like that of, pruning a tree. In order to really grow a tree or grow a strong tree, you need to start with your purpose, then prune the tree, and then cultivate it daily. And that, most people don't start with purpose, and most people think it's too difficult to prune the tree, and they don't cultivate it on a daily basis. But this is a huge one I've learned over time. Even, T. Harv Eker, one of my mentors, has talked about this concept when he says, the roots create the fruits in your life. Most of us are worried about the fruit. What are we getting? How is it helping us? What are we doing? And we don't realize that the real secret is in nurturing the roots, because the roots are what create the fruits. But I like the author's analogy of pruning a tree. In other words, you can't just let it happen. You need to consciously and specifically decide what you want, and then you have to cultivate and nurture for those results. So I want to encourage you to pick up a copy of the book, Managing Thought, and I'll do my best to find a time to interview the author, get her on the program here. And there's so many other topics in there I'd love to cover. In fact, I'll just list a few of them out here for you. She talks about the actual process of managing your thought. Lots of examples. Identifying thoughts that are time wasters and energy stealers. Identifying destructive and diseased thoughts. How to shape your thoughts. How to ask powerful questions. How to make powerful statements. Daily cultivation. How to manage your energy and your spirit. And so many more things. But ultimately, I think that there's so many examples, studies, stories, and descriptions in there that I think you'll get a lot of ideas on how you can implement this topic the book talks about. So with that said, I know we're short on time. I really want to respect your time each day because I'd like you to tune in daily. But once again, I want to encourage you to empower yourself by learning to be aware of your thoughts and stop when they're getting the best of you and take action. Practice it this week. Watch what happens when you take more notice of your thoughts. Look at the results you'll get. Notice how much more objective you'll become and notice how much more productive you'll become. My goal here on the podcast is to help you to create results in your life. It's to provide you with personal development and the financial education and business knowledge. We're going to get into a lot more business over the next month or so here. So I hope that that's something I've been able to do for you here today. A little bit of inspiration, motivation, some ideas. Remember, it's never too late to start living the life that you were meant to live. There's never a better time than now. I look forward to talking with you more this week. And for those of you just joining, my name is George Wright III, and this has been the Daily Mastermind. Have a great day. Today's podcast was brought to you by Protect Wealth Academy and the 3-day Asset Protection and Wealth Creation Summit. I've worked with Protect Wealth for over 2 decades, and they are by far the longest-running wealth creation and asset protection event in the nation. So if you're interested in creating double-digit returns, you want to significantly lower your taxes, or just protect yourself from lawsuit or judgments, then you definitely want to check out their event. It's an unbelievable collection of, America's greatest attorneys, trainers, experts, all totally live over 3 days. And it's worth thousands of dollars, but I've arranged for you and any of the members of our mastermind community to attend the entire event, all 3 days, absolutely free. You just need to go to the show notes. I'll put a link in there for you to claim your 2 free tickets. And there's only a couple of these per year, and they sell out quickly. So go grab 2 tickets to the next event, take advantage of the offer. And remember, it takes a lifetime to accumulate wealth, but just a few days to protect it if you do things right. Anyway, have an amazing day, and I'm glad this could be something of value for you.